You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stair.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife, and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. I'm positive. I'm not. But we'll keep our eyes peeled. If she has a weapon, she'll have to draw it before she can use it.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other? Then I'm not talking to you.
You stare at the princess, squinting. She squints back. The two of you are gonna do this forever, aren't you? You squint even harder. So does she. At least nobody's dying right now. You're going to have to make a choice. You can't keep squinting forever. Eventually, someone is going to have to blink. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face. Unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her. Don't just tell her that.
That's cute. Do you believe that? Do you think I'm some sort of monster? If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous? Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less.
Too long.
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't, well, We can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Don't jump to any weird conclusions. We're two people who have met each other. By definition, we have a relationship. Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. That seems like a pretty good compromise. Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. You can make it easier for both of us if you help. And if you don't, I can promise that you'll come to regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all us. I know you think this is a fair compromise, but it isn't. No one wins here. It's a chance we'll have to take. We can make this work. If we just stay here and keep watch, no one has to die.
You're making a mistake.
You turn your back to the princess and make your way to the stairs.
It won't be long before I slip these chains. And once I'm out of here, there will be hell to pay for leaving me behind.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? Either way, she dropped her mask, didn't she? You can still turn around and... You'll be the death of all of us, but fine. Have it your way. You close the basement door, locking it behind you and quickly barricading it with the heavy wooden table that once held the blade. Okay, we can make this work. You settle in against the far wall to watch the basement door. It isn't long before you start to drift off, your eyelids heavy with fatigue. But sleep doesn't come. Instead, your rest is broken by a piercing, wailing voice calling out to you from the other side of the door.
I know you're still there. Why don't you make things easier on yourself and let me out? It's not like this little door will hold for very long anyways. It's probably a good idea to try to get back on my good side.
She sounds terrifying. Like she's less of the princess you saw and more like something out of a nightmare. As she violently rattles the door, you do your best to shut her out of your mind.
When I get out of here, I'm going to pick you apart piece by piece. I won't forget what you did, and I'll never forgive it. You don't know the kind of enemy you've made tonight.
It doesn't sound like she's getting any weaker. No. Just ignore her. Maybe the banging and wailing will stop if you just don't pay attention to it. You put the princess's threats out of your mind as best you can and huddle up against the... You jolt awake in the middle of the night to silence in the cabin. The ruckus has stopped, and the door to the basement is ajar, its lock broken, and the table shoved out of the way. Where is she?
Thanks for helping me get out of that awful basement.
You try and stumble to your feet, but as the princess draws near, it's as though your body simply stops. It isn't all at once. The paralysis comes in waves. First your toes go numb, and then your feet, and then your legs. You lie prone on the floor of the cabin, unable to do anything but... Whose side are you on? Yours, of course. But I have a duty to uphold the truth. Lying about the facts of the situation doesn't change them.
So helpless. I can take my time with you, can't I?
She steps closer, one silent footfall at a time, cocking her head in curiosity as you feel your organs shutting down.
Or maybe I can't take my time with you. You don't look well. A little green around the gills. What a shame. If you'd only help me get out of here. We could have done such wonderful things together.
Your lungs stop drawing in breath, and your heart freezes in your chest.
I'd say better luck next time. But we both know this is the end, don't we?
It can't be. This can't actually be how everything ends. I'm sorry. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin, you're here to slay her. Again? People don't die twice. You haven't even met the princess, and I hardly think she'd be capable of killing someone as skilled and courageous as yourself. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Shh. What if he hears us? That's a very good question, little voice. What if he does hear you? Shit. I think you'll find yourselves very hard-pressed to keep any secrets from me. Not that it matters right now, because like I said, this is the first time we've met. Still, I'd rather not get off on the wrong foot. We've a world to save, after all. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We couldn't trust either of you, and as far as I'm concerned, we still can't. All we did was lock her away. And how'd that work out for you? No comment. Well then, congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And your solution is to send us back in there. Do you want us to slay the princess, or do you want the princess to slay us? Obviously, I want you to slay her. One of you poses a threat to the world, and the other doesn't. Anyways, I believe your other question was something along the lines of, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Speak for yourself. From my perspective, there were plenty of consequences. I'm never going to forget the way she just made us stop working. And that's only scratching the surface. If what you said is true, it begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or have you found yourself in another world altogether? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she brought an end to everything and everyone, how are we supposed to stop her? What do you want from us? I want you to succeed. You'll find a way. You're the only one who can. Just be quick about it. She is just a princess. Whatever you think happened to you last time, just get it out of your head before you get to the cabin, and you'll be fine. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. If you want us to stand a chance against her, we need to be armed with information. What is she really capable of? How are we supposed to stop her? Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it's He isn't telling us everything he knows because he doesn't trust us, which means that we can't trust him. Stop talking yourself in neurotic circles and just get to the cabin already. No, you should do anything but that. We know what's waiting for us in that basement. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. You can't just goad us into doing something by calling us special. It's manipulative. Why are you trying to manipulate us? I don't know, I kinda like being special. Okay, fine. Maybe you can goad him into doing something, but he's not even the one who makes the decisions here. I'm not goading you into doing anything. You already know the princess is dangerous. All I'm trying to say is that you have to be the one to deal with her. I know it doesn't seem fair, but that's just the way it is. And for what it's worth, I know you have it in you to finish the job. We don't. You saw what happened to us last time. We need to leave. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from... I don't think lying and cheating is a thing. She was very direct with us last time. Or at least, she was direct with us after we decided to lock her away. It doesn't matter. Don't trust anyone. The interior of the cabin is plain, the smooth wood of the walls almost featureless. The only furniture of note is a lone table, knocked on its side in the corner of the room. A pristine blade stands between you and the open, inviting basement doorway. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Hold on. What happened to the door? There was a door here last time. It's just an empty frame. She's already gotten out, hasn't she? And she's ready for us. She's been waiting. Can't you feel her eyes on us? I'm going to need all of you to pull yourselves together. The princess has not already gotten out. But if you keep getting stuck in your head like this, you're going to struggle to get the job done. So deep breath in, deep breath out. Your task awaits, and only you can do it. You're right. I was so stuck on the eyes watching us that I didn't even notice it there. What are you two talking about? There isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the floor, and the open doorway leading to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. We have to look at it. Unless that's what he wants us to do. And pretending it isn't there is a trick to get us to do exactly what he wants. If he's willing to lie about something as innocuous as a mirror, what else could he be hiding from us? Exactly. Everything he's saying is carefully crafted lies. I'm not lying to you, I promise. There isn't a mirror. Really. You walk up to the wall next to the empty basement door frame. It's a wall. There isn't much to see. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. Did he make it go away? Clearly there was something in there worth investigating if he wants it hidden so bad. Very different. He changed it, didn't he? It's like he's trying to make us doubt our reality. Calm down. Maybe the three of you just think everything is different because you haven't been here before. Enough of this past life nonsense. You haven't died, you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. A lot's riding on this. We should have taken the knife again. I don't think she's going to take an olive branch. We need something sharper. You cross over the threshold and onto a series of isolated steps, suspended in darkness. More eyes, too. You never mention the eyes. The air seeping up from below reminds you of fresh lightning and static, as if you're descending into a place that isn't meant for a creature of flesh and blood. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her cruel and playful voice prances up the stairs.
I didn't think you'd come back. We're gonna have a lot of fun, you and I.
Okay, we need a game plan. Last time we were here, just being close to her was enough to kill us. Didn't you hear my warning a minute ago? She can't be trusted. Talking won't do you any good. Something tells me she isn't going to be very keen on talking anyway. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. As you emerge, you find yourself between two loose rows of white wooden planks suspended in nothingness. A smattering of cobblestones visible against the inky black of the basement mark where the floor should be, forming vague pathways. At what seems to be the end of the room, they diverge in opposite directions, left and right. She could be anywhere, and there's nowhere for us to hide. We're completely exposed. Are you really not going to comment on how weird this place is? No, I'm not. Somebody needs to be the voice of reason here, and it certainly isn't you. Excuse me, I'm being incredibly reasonable. You're the one who's just matter-of-factly describing whatever the hell we're looking at like it's an ordinary basement. We're going to die down here. I don't want to die again. Please stop saying that. You're only going to make things worse. Just pick a direction and start moving.
I wouldn't give it too much thought if I were you. It doesn't really matter, because either way you go, I'm going to find you.
You turn to the right. A faintly outlined path lies before you.
There you are. I told you I was going to find you.
As the princess approaches, your legs suddenly go numb. Your arms quickly follow. This is it, isn't it?
No little knife this time. It's almost like you want me to get you.
There has to be a way out of this. Think. What did you do? Pull yourself together. She isn't supposed to be like this.
I wonder how many times I'll get to play with you before you break.
Your vision cuts out as your blood begins to coagulate. It's as if every part of your being is coming to a lurching halt. Heart, lungs, liver, nerves. Your lungs pull in a desperate gulp of air as your eyes shoot back open. What are you doing? I'm working. Do you want this body to function, or do you want... And then experience stops once more as your body reapproaches death. Okay, whatever you were doing, please just start doing it. You sure about that? Are you sure that's what you want? Or do you have seconds left? Yes, I'm sure. Heart, lungs, liver. Again, your eyes shoot open as you gasp for breath.
Can't decide what you want to do, can you? Oh well, standing there gasping like a fish is more fun than dead. Even if you look ridiculous.
She isn't attacking us. Liver. Why? Heart. Lungs. The why doesn't matter. She's already proven her ill intent. Don't lose sight of your mission. And how are we supposed to do that? We don't have a weapon. The way out of here is nowhere to be seen. That isn't my fault. It doesn't matter whose fault it is because fighting her isn't an option right now. Then you should get looking, shouldn't you? Lungs. Liver. Nerves, heart, lungs, liver, 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 nerves, heart.
You poor deluded thing. Do you think a single moment of bravery changes you into something you're not? I am what I am, and you're always going to be a coward.
She raises a hand to her mask and pulls it down. You don't get the chance to see what lies beneath before it envelops you. Like a creeping mold, the complete reality of your existence threads its way through your mind. Birth, death, birth again, decay and bloom, a million stitches from a million microscopic wounds you've inflicted on everyone you've ever met, with every muscle you've moved and every word you've ever spoken. No.
Let me out.
Your existence hurts them.
Let me out.
A lonely soul in a room by itself, weeping. It lives for 80 years and then it's gone. And then it's there again.
Let me out.
A reprieve. A good life. Love. Children. A steady career. Recognition from your peers. Here one moment, gone the next. The worms have found their orifices.
Let me out.
Diagnosis. It forgets everything it is. Anger, rage, distance, poverty. The lonely soul is lonely again. Love turns to mockery. It dies. It is reborn. Worse. Lonelier.
Let me out.
No. What's happening to us?
Let me out.
This is all too much. I can't keep going.
You can't keep going? Well, what are you talking about?
Oops, I think I broke you. I'll see you soon. You'll know what to do.
You're on a path in the...
Shit! What the hell was that? Who are we? What are we doing?
There was a princess, I think. It's all so fuzzy. You shouldn't know about the princess. At least, not until I... You've already been here, haven't you? I guess. It feels so long ago, almost like we've never left. We have to let her out.
No, that's the opposite of what you're here to do. You have to slay her.
Slay?
We decided not to do that.
Yeah, we're supposed to let her out. It's really the only way this works out for us. If you think about it, she's the one with power here. Nobody else can do much of anything.
No, we were supposed to keep her trapped there forever.
We're supposed to be unfeeling. How many times do I have to tell you to snuff out your heart? We can't be unfeeling. Not when there's so much fear everywhere. There's nothing for us to do. We've already tried everything.
We love her, so we have to set her free. Can we love something that hates us? Can we love something that hurts us?
To be given an ounce of kindness from something so cruel would be more pure than any other love. Why are there so many of us? There aren't supposed to be so many of us. This is bad. You need to get a grip. What did you let happen? How many times have you been here? You slowly make your way through the umbral forest, bumping against unseen trees as you grasp through the darkness for a way forward. But eventually, you do make it to the cabin. Or rather, you make it to the place a cabin should have been. Instead, all you find is an empty hill. No, this isn't right. There's a cabin there. There's always supposed to be a cabin there. Don't ask him about the mirror. He always says he never sees it. He always lies. And he always makes it gone. Stay focused. You still have a job to do, and it's best not to be distracted by fraying thoughts. There is no mirror. You know that as well as I do. She's still here, buried deep inside the earth. Just walk up the hill. You always give too much space to the others. It's why you always lose. They've been hurt too much. It's why they are the way they are. Exactly. They are delusions, and all that catering to them will do is drag you down to their level. You have to keep moving, or you could just give up. You walk up the hill, hesitating just beyond the bounds of the cabin. The cabin that isn't there. You've got to clean the mirror, haven't you? You've got to see what's in it. Smash it to pieces. She's on the other side.
and we have to let her out.
It's the only way we can have our thoughts back. Just go around it. Just do something. It doesn't matter what. Proceed. Proceed to where? I'm afraid you're going to have to be a little more specific. That's a new one.
Do you think it'll work?
Of course it'll work. He always makes the best decisions. It's why he gets to make them, and it already has worked. It's gone, don't you see?
We're one step closer to her.
The interior of the cabin is much the same as the exterior of the cabin. A dull, fuzzy, dreamlike nothing. It's empty and isolating, but there's just enough vague shape and unknown texture to suggest the structure they're in. Wrong and unsettling as it may be, the only object of note is a pristine blade buried in the dirt floor, a hint of its shining edge teasing through the sediment. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. Take it. It's the only way forward. Reach down to take the blade, but as you do, the ground beneath it shifts, the weapon sinking deep into the earth. You lean over the hole and gaze into the abyss. Deep in the bowels of the earth, you see something staring back at you. It fills you with dread. It's her. She's watching us. She never stops watching us.
You really are a coward.
With every word she speaks, the princess in the pit blinks closer.
I was joking when I said that way back when. You know that, right?
Closer.
I was having some fun, and I guess I wanted to see if I could melt you.
And closer.
Watching over me forever? That was so brave.
And closer.
But forever is so long. Except for me. I've already taken your will, and you're not getting it back. I would like for you to take my will and let me out. It'll be so much fun. You and me, together, exploring the world and spreading fear wherever we go. Well, mostly just me. But you'll get to be there too. A witness. I can even make you a little cage if you want. Gilded and everything.
Do something. Do anything that isn't taking her hand. You extend your hand to hers. For all her past cruelties, the moment feels gentle, tender even. I can't believe you just made me say that. I hate you. The motion is difficult at first, as if something still resists your efforts. But then that resistance gives way, and it's over.
And that's the end. I wonder what we're going to do next.
I didn't think I'd be so tired. Why is it so cold?
She's gone. Yeah. I can finally think again. Almost. That mirror's back. What does that mean for us? I'm sure it'll be whisked away, just like her. Maybe it won't be gone. Things are different now, aren't they? Doesn't seem like there's much else to do here. Finally, we can smash it. Oh, will you stop with the smashing?
What do we say, boys? One last vain attempt to look at ourselves.
Yeah. I think I'd like that.
Seems we've got a majority. All that's left is to give it a look.
Something tells me that this is the end of the line. But I don't feel bad about it. I'm ready. It feels okay. It feels I'm done fighting. My heart feels the game was always going to end. I'll be free of all of you. I'm ready for the truth. I'm ready to sleep.
I'm just ready to be anywhere that isn't here. Boys, it's been an honor.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. I know only that they are. You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you. Nothing as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. Everything. Until we meet again. I have not lived. I am not afraid to die. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement, you're here to slay her. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning. Before she will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she said.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. Her voice soft.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. How many times do I have to tell you how dangerous letting her out of here would be before it finally sinks in?
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever. Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Don't do it. If she gets out of those chains, we're all one step closer to the end.
Only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
No, you're doing the right thing.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay, I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it! Stop trying to resist me! I'm trying to get you out of here alive! The blade! Move the blade! As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheek. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. You're here to slay her.
Are we running away? What are you doing? We have to...
Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you eat? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved. That's great to hear. As long as you bring that fiery attitude to princess slaying.
Oh, it's going to resolve splendidly, all right.
The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't.
I'm sure the princess would tell us there was a mirror if she were up here.
In which case she'd be lying to you because, again, there isn't a mirror. I care about whether we're being lied to. If he's willing to lie about something as innocuous as a mirror, I'm not lying to you, I promise. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago.
And now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight, but it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. A soft voice carries up.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice. It's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I think we're in love.
Okay, I'm with you that we should be doing whatever we can to save her, but saying we're in love is a bit much, don't you think? We don't even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this fawning. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.
My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Wait
waiting for you to come back. You've been here before, haven't you? That's right, villain, and you killed us. Well, she killed us. Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty. And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. We damned a whole world, but everything reset. Nothing resets, you're just somewhere else. You can't keep hopping between worlds forever, especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you. This is horrible. Horrible for you, maybe, but we've been given another opportunity to sweep her off her feet and treat her like the lady she is. Now, hold on, if she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her? We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise. Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job. Rescue her? What are you talking about? Did you forget that she's a world-ending monstrosity? And even if you wanted to unleash her onto the world, despite the complete moral disaster that would be, you'd have to get her out of those chains. Good luck with that. Don't you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her out with ease. No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. If her hand could just slip out of the chains, why hasn't she done it already? Because we've yet to present her with her freedom. I'm not sure I follow. Would you rather believe me, a passionate heart guided by love and my own good nature? Or would you rather believe the devil on your shoulder who tells you what you can and cannot do? I think I'd rather believe in facts. Ah, so you're one of those empiricists. One of us has to be. Then let me show you a brand new truth. Narrator, we courageously step forward and free our beloved from her bindings. No, I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? I would if you had a weapon. Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought. You wouldn't. I would. I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings, and doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed. I can't believe it. But I guess I have to. I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back and everyone out there would be saved. Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon. Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
Let me guess. End the... Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection, and then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Sounds perfect.
The princess takes your hand, the last hopes of the entire world slipping through your fingers as they intertwine with hers.
We have each other. We don't need the world for our happy ending.
I like to think that you do, actually.
Look, I have my doubts, but the choice has been made and this is happening. You don't have to mope about it. I will mope about it, because moping is the only recourse you love-blind fools have left me with.
You and the princess walk up the stairs hand in hand.
Ugh, look at the way she's smiling at you. She doesn't have to be so happy about this. And what happens after we walk up the stairs? Let's see. Oh, isn't that interesting? The door slams in your face and the lock clicks. That's a familiar move. Did I do that last time? Then you should know that you won't be able to leave.
Oh no! Did someone lock us in here? That's not fair! We're supposed to leave now.
She's right. It isn't fair. But the unfairnesses of the world are no match for the strength of true love. Enough with this true love nonsense. You just met her. Of course you wouldn't understand. Our passions run deeper than anything you have ever known.
Are you listening to this? You don't have to go along with the every whim of that delusional voice.
I'm just along for the ride at this point.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Like a pair of teenagers in love, you and the princess place your hands on the door together.
Blech. And the lock clicks and the door creaks open. Are you kidding me? I told you our love was insurmountable.
You and the princess make your way upstairs and... The blade, that's right, there's still a chance for you to do the right thing. Take the blade from the table and slay her before it's too late. You're enjoying this, aren't you? You're taking every opportunity you can to draw out the end of the world and make me suffer. I hate you.
That's the way out. We're going to leave together, just like you wanted.
Yes, I suppose you are going to do that, aren't you? You cross the room, opening the door to the cabin, and then you step outside.
Our happy ending at last.
We did it! What should we do now?
Where did everything go? Where did he go?
Oh, is he gone? I hadn't noticed. I was too busy staring deep.
And cold. Is being happy supposed to be so cold?
She's cold. Quick, our feathers. Pluck them all and weave her a coat worthy of a princess.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we... Is that a mirror?
This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Yes. I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? That can't...
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only thing I know that isn't me. If I am to be an ocean, you have nurtured me into a pond. My waters are shallow and murky, and I yearn for more perspective. You will have your rest in due time, and I am sorry for the burdens I place on you. Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is in seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective and memory. The vessels are shaped by memories of you, but their impulses are drawn to the edge of the long quiet. To them you are a gate to something more, and any hurt you've caused them is understood as a fair price for freedom. But they are only thoughts and perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence. I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. A warning. She will lie. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The blade is The door to the basement creaks open, her voice.
Hello? Is someone there?
Is hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember. You're here to slay her. You make your a warning. She will lie. The interior of the blade. The door to the basement creaks open, her voice softly carried.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. How many times do I have to tell you how dangerous letting her out of here would be before it finally sinks?
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever. Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Don't do it. If she gets out of those chains, we're all one step closer to the end. You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you.
You're making a huge... No. You're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chain. They're large and heavy.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever...
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. Is someone else here? You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before she rips her flesh from her. It's the blade. Or you won't like what happened. Fine. Again, you cut. The blade is sharp. No. No. Watch me. You're here to... Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path. A warning. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need... You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carried.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She's so coldly beautiful. Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You're so close. Now, this is a good idea. Maybe...
Oh, threatened, are we? You poor thing.
The blade tumbles out of your trim.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just... talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face. Will be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship. Oh, have you decided?
You know what? Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Well, you do have that big, sharp knife. You could always cut me out of here.
She speaks with almost complete... If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door of the... Is someone else here? You try the door, but you're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is... Your shouts and pleas, I'll repeat myself once again. You're here... You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This easier for her, easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down. The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happened. Against your better you cut. If the blade is sharp and you make... She didn't so much as utter a... How is she so composed after losing an arm?
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her as the princess approach... Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just watch me. Stop that.
I thought this was a little too...
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back. but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hand.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground. Blood. This is the end. I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was... You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A terrible sense of déjà vu. No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secret. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world.
You have already committed to my completion. You cannot go further astray.
Those are two very different questions. Let's say for a moment, if you're back here, the absolute irony. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did practically force the princess to kill you, it was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me? Because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all. Sure you are. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts. Just be quick about it. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. You haven't given us an ounce of proof. You do know that, right? What proof could you possibly ask for? Literally anything. Fine. Check your pockets. You Put your hands in your pockets and pull out an envelope with the words, "The Evidence," written across the front. Within, you find a note in your handwriting. It reads, "The princess will end the world if you don't stop her. This is an immutable truth." That doesn't prove anything. How do we know you didn't just forge our handwriting? I wish I could tell you more, but there are some rules I have to follow for all our sakes. Please just trust that these rules are in place for a reason. I'm on your side. You mean you're on our side as long as we do what you tell us to? Exactly. Because you not doing what I tell you to do means you're putting the world at risk. I think we've got everything out of him we're gonna get. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to try. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its head. The blade is your implement. Very different. Yes, but why? Did he change it? Or did it change all on its own? Maybe it's a different cabin entirely. Now isn't that a novel thought? Maybe you haven't actually been here before. I hope this means you'll finally drop your ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Don't get distracted by minor details. Walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back. I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon. Are you sure? She killed us with it last time. What if she turns it against us again? Yes, I'm sure. And I've already got a plan for that. Still with those past life delusions, are we? I hope part of that plan is don't give the world ending monstrosity your only weapon, because unless you've decided to arm the princess, I don't think you need to worry about her having a weapon. Peachy, we'll be fine. Okay, I'm trusting you. Normally, yeah, but not about this. Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go. Wonderful. You do exactly that, sweeping the knife from the table before proceeding to the basement. Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it. No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the...
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves. The chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. So much for cutting her out of here.
Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table.
Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
That was there last time too, wasn't it?
It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease. You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me? Oh? Are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things. It's complicated things how? Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency. A contingency for what? For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse. Just... good luck.
Now hold on, if you knew this could happen, why didn't you believe us back in the woods? Why lay out all those hypotheticals? We didn't have to talk in circles.
I needed you to believe this was your first time here, even if that wasn't the truth. I hoped if I pushed back hard enough I could cram this seeping mess back into the bottle. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative. That's pathetic. I never said I wasn't.
I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that.
Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. Alright?
Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark?
The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to accept that.
I won't.
Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that.
Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming. Nothing happened. You died. I went upstairs. I couldn't leave. I found myself in a new place in chains again. More of them. And now you're back.
Is that really all she knows? It's not like we have much of a clue about how things work. And she's probably even more in the dark than we are.
You're looking at me like I might be hiding something. I'm not.
I guess it's possible she really doesn't know anything. Maybe both of us are stuck in this loop without any idea why or how.
I don't know, but you could always try it on. Maybe it'll fit.
I hope I don't actually have to say this, but please don't lock yourself in chains. We need you ambulatory if you're going to save the world. I wouldn't do that if I...
And why is that?
Do I even need to explain myself? It's a shackle and it's one without a key. Do you want to be stuck here like she is?
And what? Is it going to lock the second we put our wrist into it?
I don't know. Maybe it will.
He doesn't want us to look at it. That's all the reason we need to investigate.
But what if he's telling the truth?
He isn't.
I am. Against your better judgment, you approach the chain dangling from the far wall. The princess watches you with faux disinterest as you inspect it, though she can't fully hide her curiosity. I don't want to say what I'm supposed to say next.
What is that supposed to mean? It sounds bad. Is it bad?
Yes, it's bad.
Come out and say it then. You're just wasting time.
Fine. As you hoist the shackle, its heft shifts within your grasp, as if pulled by some odd magnetism. Before you can so much as blink, it practically leaps from your hands, snapping around your neck. And, as if your situation weren't bad enough, the same magnetism repels your blade, which is flung from your hand and sent skittering across the floor of the basement.
Excuse me?
Yes? Are we stuck here now? Yes.
Huh, so it does fit. And I guess it doesn't like your knife. We're stuck here together, aren't we? That's funny.
What are we supposed to do now? Can't even cut ourselves out. Guess we'll starve.
That's horrible.
It's not all bad. We learned a valuable piece of information.
Not to touch things we're specifically told not to touch?
No, that there's something special about this loose chain. It's clearly important.
No. Wait, I guess. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe not. Nope.
That's rude.
You and the princess wait in silence, though neither of you knows what you're waiting for. But you're waiting for something. You're waiting for anything.
This is so boring. There must be something we can do to get out of here. There must be something we're missing.
But there isn't. Time passes. It passes and passes and passes. And the basement of the cabin remains much the same. It is cold and silent.
At least the world is safe.
It isn't. You're stuck. Too far away from both the princess and your blade to do much of anything.
But she's not ending anything. She's just sitting there.
Her very existence is a threat. It harms everything around it.
How exactly does that work?
It just does.
But
your line of questioning is interrupted by the passage of even more time. And after that, even more time passes again.
And let me guess. The cabin remains. If time is passing, the cabin can't be the same. Even if the differences are small, they have to exist. That's just how things work.
I suppose you're correct. Things are changing. The differences are small at first, a bit of weathering here, a bit of erosion there, but then they get larger and larger.
I don't like small talk, remember?
Still rude.
You continue to wait in silence, and the cabin continues to change. The decay comes faster now. You can see earth through holes in the stonework, can watch lichen spread along the seams of the walls.
That doesn't make sense. Has our entire concept of time changed? What happened to starving? We should have died by now if the rocks around us are starting to erode.
She hasn't starved.
I guess she hasn't.
Even more silent time passes as you watch roots push themselves through the increasingly porous walls of the basement. Dirt seeps inside, flowing across the stone floor like a liquid, covering the ground and threatening to swallow you both. Time continues to pass, and pass, and pass, until suddenly there are no walls. And then... And...
I think he's gone.
Would you look at that? We made it out of the cabin, and nothing bad had to happen to either of us. So this is the outside world. It's cold.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why? This doesn't feel right. It feels...
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, our awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of knowing you and knowing me. It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me? It says that your heart is gentle, that even in the darkness you are guided by compassion. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. Are you serious? No, you have to do it. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. How many times do I have to tell you how dangerous letting her out of here would be before it finally sinks in?
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever. Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Don't do it. If she gets out of those chains, we're all one step closer to...
Okay.
Only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with, if we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be to attempt. Is someone else here? You try the door. Your shouts and you're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. Easier for her, easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam.
There's a slight panic rising in the princess.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here.
As she ripped before you. Against you cut. The blade is sharp. Her limb. She did know. She smiles soft. How is.
Thank you.
No. We won't have any. As the princess approaches the bottom stair. Wait. This isn't fair. You can't watch me.
What are you doing?
Okay, there's no going back now. And with you bring the blade down to strike at the princess's heart. But she's fast. She ducks to the floor, your blade narrowly grazing her backside. Slaying her won't be easy now that she's free.
We could have gotten out of here together. Were you just lying to me this whole time? I don't know what's come over you, but if I have to kill you, then I'll kill you. Do you think I need both of my arms to do that?
She pounces on you with the same animal ferocity she used to tear through her arm. But you have a weapon. You raise the blade, digging it under her ribs, aiming directly for the heart. It's not enough to stop her. You feel her claws in your throat, then her teeth, somehow sharp enough to pull apart your flesh and sinew with ease. You collapse to the floor, your body unresponsive as your blood pools on the ground beneath you. She stares down at your ravaged form, eyes shining in the darkness, dress stained in red as her blood and yours both seep into the fabric. If we're lucky, the wound you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, it will kill. It can't just end like... As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path, you're here to slay her. A warning. She will lie. Don't worry. You can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its end. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. What are you talking about? You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. No blade. I hope you know what you're getting us. It'll always be here if we need it. Sure, that was also true last time and we still died, but we definitely know what we're doing this time. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tank. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decision? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine, fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, once again seeming to offer a helping hand while likely hiding the other behind your back. Fine, I'll play along for now. What do you want?
She's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. Do you remember us then? Do you remember last? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue. You came to me with empty hands last time, too. But that didn't mean you hadn't been plotting something nasty all along. What you did showed me as much.
But we didn't plot anything. We just made an informed decision based on the information we had at the time. I think you're both making perfectly valid points. Sure, we didn't plot anything, but it's easy to see how she might think we did. Ooh, smart. Let's apologize, get us back on the right foot.
The only mistake I ever made was thinking you would help me. And I'm not going to make the same mistake twice.
Well, that leaves us at a stalemate.
But unfortunately, I need you if I'm ever going to leave this place. Oh, I don't need you to cut me out.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
Yes, let's.
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face. She never breaks eye contact, even as the two of you find yourselves face to face. She's silent for a long moment, as if testing to see what you'll do now that she's within arm's reach.
After you, darling. You're the one it lets come and go. It's best if I follow.
Oh no, we can't have that. If anyone is going to turn their back on anyone else, she's going to turn her back on us. It shouldn't matter who leads and who follows. We're working together here. Well, if it doesn't matter, then she can go first. We may be in this together, but that doesn't mean we have to trust her. Somebody has to go first, and it might as well be us. We're the ones who broke her trust last time. You're talking a lot about trusting someone who, by her very definition, cannot be trusted. I don't know how many more warnings I have to dole out, but if you help her out of here, you're going to regret it.
That's right, you're the one who's going first. Don't worry, I'll be right behind you watching every single thing you do.
That's exactly what I'm worried about.
You step onto the stairs and begin your ascent from the basement. The princess follows close on your heels, perhaps even a little closer than you'd like.
You're only saying that because you want us to feel...
I do want those things, but I want them for a good reason. I don't need you to trust me for my sake, because I already know that I'm right. This is for you.
Can we walk backwards up the stairs? I think that's the smarter idea. She can't sneak in and attack if we're facing her.
No. The stairs are a bunch of overgrown roots. You'll trip and hurt yourself.
But...
The princess is silent as you both continue the climb, and, in no time at all, the upstairs of the cabin is within reach.
Isn't that a relief? We're fine.
You're not even going to wait until you're through that door to proudly claim your victory, are you?
Why did you just say that? I think we know why.
You feel something dig into your shoulder, sharp and piercing. The princess clawing at you and pulling you down with her full weight. Together you tumble back down the uneven stairs, your body and hers crashing against the unyielding wooden roots, until finally you both separate with a bone-shaking thud against the basement floor. You feel something pop. The princess lands against the far wall, gasping as she struggles to recover from the impact. You're still in shock, trying to get a hold of yourself. She grins as you continue to remain exactly where you are, cackling derisively as she watches you realise that you won't be getting up.
Wait, why won't we be getting up?
I'm afraid your back is broken. One unlucky fall is all it takes, really, and you had several.
You know what? I'll say it. That sucks. I don't like having a broken back.
We were going to help her. Why? Why did she do that?
It's what I would have done.
Have you considered not being like that?
Of course not.
It's what keeps us alive.
And yet here we are, paralysed and stuck with someone who hates us in the basement of a remote cabin.
You must have known this was coming. The arrogance of turning your back to me after everything you've done. Maybe you were, and maybe you weren't. But even more than I wanted my freedom, I really, really wanted to hurt you. And you know as well as I that by our very natures, only one of us could make it up those stairs unscathed. Someone had to make the first move. Better me than you.
See, this is why I wanted her to go first. I had this whole little scheme planned, where once she'd passed by the table upstairs, I'd have said, now pick up the blade and stab her in the back. And then you'd say something like, wow, that's an amazing idea that I never saw coming. Thanks for looking out for us. And then you would have done it and we wouldn't be stuck down here with a broken back. There's just one problem with that. And what's that? She was clearly planning to betray us. And if she was in front of us, she would have gotten to the blade first. Ugh, you're right, aren't you? I thought this whole thing was ironclad, but really it was doomed from the start, wasn't it? The princess's body twitches as she tries to get up. Ho ho ho! So she's got it as bad as us.
Something inside me is broken. Isn't that a cruel twist of the knife? Isn't that so
So funny.
She eyes you with intensity, silence falling between you for a long moment as her gaze travels up and down your battered form.
Seems I'm not the only one, though.
Wait, are we both just... Certainly seems that way. What a way to go. But look on the bright side. In all this chaos, you may have actually managed to deliver a lethal wound. The world could be saved after all.
We're going to die together. Isn't that a lovely treat? I wonder how long it'll take. Maybe I'll get to watch the worms lick your bones clean.
Is that really what's going to happen? Hello? Are you still there? I think he's gone.
Something strange is twisting this place out of shape. I wasn't feeling much of anything, but now I feel cold.
She's gone.
And there's that mirror again. But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. If he thinks it's bad, I'm with him. Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you. Finally! We're...
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. We're supposed to be there. Do you know what we'll find out there? No, their thoughts are quiet. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond? Do not look to one who fears me for your truth. The only answers worth knowing are those we can find within ourselves. We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something, but nothing cannot exist on its own. And because of that, nothing can't exist. There is a warmth and sadness in me at the thought of people. Fresh tears on a winter's day. They are not like us. They do not last. The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty. The blade is your implement. The door to the basement creaks open. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. Don't let it fool you. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She's beautiful. I am begging you to stay focused.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains? Okay. Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal...
Is Princess her name or her title?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need. You should know better than to trust whatever... The princess hesitates. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want.
Are you looking for the truth, or are you looking for the right answer? Because with the dynamic we have going on here, I don't think the specifics of what I do really matter. It's not like you'd believe me.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on
Where are you going? You can't just leave me here. You'd better hope for your own sake that I don't slip these chains before you make it back down here.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction? She has to be bluffing, but I'd hurry if I were you. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only... Okay. If we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall. Is it just me? Or did this room get a lot bigger? Oh, you coward!
No. Why don't you come closer?
Your eyes dart to the corner. Where is she? You close the door behind you. Almost magically, its locks immediately click into place. Maybe they'll open if you finish the job.
Oh, do you want to play a waiting game? I've been down here a long, long time. I'm very good at waiting.
You do your best to patient, but eventually... Come on, wake up. We can't fall asleep. You wait for as long as you can, pushing yourself to stay awake and stay vigilant. But you can't outwait someone who's been waiting for as long as she remembers. You barely even realize that you've started to drift off. Pain tears you from your sleep. The princess is upon you, ripping into your flesh, unnaturally sharp teeth and claws severing arteries and digging. There's nothing to be done. It can't just end like this. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. You're here to slay her. A warning. She will lie. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature? I don't see why that matters. A lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered. She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell. That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this serious. Maybe. The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to. No steel claw. Do you think we can talk our way out of this? I don't think she wants to talk. I guess we'll just have to trust that we made the right call. It'll still be here if we need it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of hole. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet. She growls up.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient. Or maybe you carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground. The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind. Remember, she's just a princess. She's certainly not just a prince. You're not helping. It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified.
A shiver rushes up your spine. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. There's a shift in the humid air, and something enormous, the princess, lunges from the shadows, her maw unhinged and dripping, her eyes fierce and full of hunger. She is too quick to outrun, too nimble to outmaneuver, too determined to overpower. This is her domain. I guess that's it then. Unfortunately for you, no. This isn't. You are in a dark and caustic place. A thick, fibrous lining constricts around you, its slick surface impossible to grip. Your hands scrabbling uselessly at your surroundings as they compress in on you. Your lungs can barely expand in such a tiny space. Not that the humid, finite air grants you more than a few shallow breaths at a time.
You spoke when you needed to act.
The liquid pooling beneath you starts to seep into your skin. You itch, then sting, then burn as the acid begins its slow work.
When I killed you, I tried to leave this place, but it wouldn't let me. You belong down there, it screamed at me. The world is better off without you in it.
The flesh around you rumbles as the princess begins to move, her thundering footfalls twisting you helplessly about. Your skin protests as the corrosive liquid sloshes around you, but there will be no respite for you in sight. The burning grows stronger, and you can feel layers of you being peeled.
But you don't belong down here. You came from somewhere else. You came from out there. So I consumed your dead heart, and I carried it in my throat, and I draped what was left of you on my back, and I threw myself against that door.
She stops, her muscles tensing around you, and through the muffling layers of her flesh, you hear the whine of straining metal. And with a pop, she lurches forward, your body lurching right along with her. Her chains. She's loose.
But even then, it denied me freedom. You cannot fool me by draping yourself in decay. I know your true nature, and it is suffering.
Gravity pulls at you as you're hefted upwards, the distant creaking of ancient wooden steps barely audible over the thudding of the princess's heart.
And then it was gone, and I was here. A new enclosure, a nicer cage, but still a prison. I learned from my wounds. You're alive now. We can leave together.
Does that work? Could she free herself if we're alive in here? Do you really need me to give you a definitive answer for you to understand that the situation is grim? Stop her. Do. We don't have steel, but we have tooth and claw. Tear through her before we are her.
I acted on my will, fledgling, and you acted on yours. The strong triumph, and the weak submit or perish. Oh, can I?
The click of what you presume to be a door ripples through the layers of suffocating flesh.
That wasn't so hard.
You feel her take another massive step, and then another, and then... It's gone quiet, hasn't it?
I guess I don't need you to be a part of me. How lucky for you. This place is cold.
She's gone. Where does she go? And is that a mirror? But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be that thing. Okay. I think you know what I am. You were either going to have seen all this, or you weren't going to have seen all this. This is worse, but you still have an opportunity to save the world. You can still slay her. The narrator. Yes, I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help after all. An objective voice to guide your blade? But you were never supposed to see me. I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far. I'm aware, and if I were you, I'd be more precious about your time. I haven't, and that's by both necessity and design. This construct you're in exists in many places at once. Anytime you failed, anytime you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both your consciousness and hers into another world. But you'll be awake soon, and then it won't be able to work like that anymore. You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death. By slaying the princess, once she's gone, everyone will get to exist exactly as they are. No more fear, no more howling chaos, just life, forever. If you need to ask that question, there's nothing I can say to move you. You haven't died. You cannot die. So you cannot grasp the abject horror of dying. She is the shifting mound, the ebb and flow, the capacity to change. She is transformation, or most of it. Her nature is why I had to die, for she becomes that which others perceive her to be. But an echo can't perceive things, not in the way that people can. So I tucked a part of myself into the folds of this construct to guide you. Seems that every me you met did a real shit job of it, though. With some amount of difficulty, but you're an abstract concept yourself. It would have been preferable if you had destroyed her within the confines of the construct, but when I shaped the two of you, I made sure that you were strong enough to see things through. Yes, you will, but it will all be worth it. There's no reasoning with a god, even one you've woven into existence yourself. I've said my piece, and my time is up. I'm just an echo, and every echo fades away.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly. Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind. Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echoes spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation? Nothing brings me greater joy than to hear those words. The final peace lies with you. I love you. It's magnificent.